know you belong here, and I can say the same. Makes me wonder while I talk to you. There is nothing wrong when I know this means you. This is a film about Chances Are. It's my second studio album. And by studio, I actually mean my home studio, which has, over the years, become more of a semi-professional studio. I guess it's like, the accumulation of gear that sort of gives it the title. It's been a really long journey from the recording process. I've played with so many great people that I'm so thankful to have associated with over the years. And especially on this album, just people that have really brought something really special to the sound and the emotion that I've been after. So day one of the recording process was drums, and in order to get the drums situated and to get the drum process actually happening, I had to put the drums somewhere. And where do you put the drums in a house? Well, you need a good room. You need somewhere that has somewhat of a nice natural reverb so that the drums don't sound like they're in a shell or a little box or anything that doesn't sound very good. And so in order to do that, I had to clear out the lounge room and basically put the drums where the ironing board is. From doing that, I was able to get a much more natural ambient sort of sound. But the problems that I ran into were the fact that the house that I live in really isn't designed for great sounding acoustics. Yeah, even though we've got tiled floors downstairs and solid walls and all of that, it still can sound like a rackety spring when you clap your hands. So I had to deaden things, putting blankets on the walls, carpets and rugs on the floor, anything that I could find basically. I had all of the gear to record what I wanted to do. Like I had microphones and drums and some cymbals and stands, and I had pretty much everything ready to go. But what was great is that some of the musicians and the drummers in this case did have some mics and obviously drum kits and cymbals and all of that kind of stuff. So that worked really well for me because I was able to pick and choose the sounds that I wanted for the recording. And when you record something, and when you write music, it's a very personal kind of thing. If you write the same way that I do, I almost write exactly to the idea that I originally came up with. So if I recorded it on my phone and I had a pretty crappy sounding guitar or a vocal that was distorted, 9 times out of 10 I'll find myself, when it comes to the recording session, searching for that exact crappy sound that I had, because something about the time when I recorded it, or when I recorded the idea, really does something inside for me. It puts me back in that place that I was once in, where I recorded that idea. So doing that kind of thing is a really hard process because you end up sitting there for hours, for days, weeks, just trying to find those original things. And when you have people that have a huge array of gear, it's a lot easier to find it that way. So when it came to the drums, we would do a take, and the take would generally be pretty good. Like, I didn't really have any bad takes. We would always do, even if it was a really good take, we would do an extra one, or we would do 2 more. And we would do that because from feeling comfortable, when you have the drummer in the studio and then they're like, yes, I got it. Then you go, just do 1 more now that you feel confident, now that you feel really comfortable. And you can come up with some incredible things. You can come up with, I was just sitting back there, I was just sitting at the desk, I've got the monitors on and the song's playing and the drums are being recorded. One of the drummers, Ben Todd, in Running Through the Night, I remember this, he did a couple of takes and they were both great, and I think from the first take I said, yep, it's all good, we can pretty much move on. He wanted to do 1 more or 2 more, and each of those individual takes that he did, they were all great, but they all had different drum fills in them. And he would say, I'll try doing this, just slight, subtle difference, and we'll see how it feels at the end. So just by doing 1 or 2 or just a couple of extra things that you don't really need to do in a studio, it can get you a really long way. It's almost like an audio insurance, you're covered in case something doesn't really work. Alex Flood and Ben Todd, 2 phenomenal drummers, both with really different things to bring to the table. From everything, including backgrounds and drum kits and cymbals and influences, just the whole bit. Alex was here for almost a week, and I managed to catch Ben while he had a day off touring because he was touring with a musical. And so Alex was here for a while, and with Ben it was almost like I had to kind of hurry up and, you know, make sure that he could finish all of his recording in time, because it was just the one day and then that was it for like a long time. So Alex and I had a lot more time to play around with sounds and percussion and the ways that we were going to go about things. With Ben it was more like, alright, I have a very solid idea of exactly what I want, and all the music was written out for Ben. Ben actually did it on his own, and I didn't expect it, and that was really, really great for studio time, basically. So with Alex, we were really thinking about maybe this cymbal would open the sound up in the chorus, or this cymbal or this drum would have this effect. And that's a really, really cool thing to have. It is so worth the time of just hitting a few different drums and moving things around the room and some microphones and changing positions of things, because that is the biggest and in fact the first step to getting such a great sound. So this is an 18 by what is it? 14. By 14. And your 22 is 16?
I believe so. Yeah, 16. 20.
And the DW is
14 by 5.5 or 14 by 6. Do you want to try chucking a tower in first? Just
okay.
See how that sounds?
Yeah, sure. It
might be nicer having, because this is pretty tight at the front, it might be nicer having it softer. It feels a bit like hitting wood.
It's kind of like woolly sounding. It doesn't have that.
Yeah, it doesn't have the initial articulation.
That's cool. I'd say that every studio needs one of these. How much did you pay for this?
Like $15 or something.
It's pretty good. We recorded the tunes. They did about half of the tunes each. Even though I could have had one drummer for the whole album, I really wanted to change it up a bit because, like I said earlier, they both brought different things to the table. Imagine listening to an album 12, 14, some albums even like 16 to 18 tracks long these days, and it's just the same sound the whole way through. A 12-track album can be 50 to 60 minutes, or maybe less, I don't know. But imagine listening to the same sound, like how boring it would be, just like the same sound buzzing around in your head. That's the last thing I wanted. I didn't want to have that kind of thing at all. So we tried many different sounds and approaches to the music.